Welcome to Deep in the Plus. I'm Rob Whiteside, your host, and tonight we have a very special movie. It's Turning Red from Pixar, and you know what? To talk about this, we had to put together an expert Pixar panel. Here they are with you tonight. We've got Eric Wolf.
Sorry, that's my Miriam impression. Hey guys, what's up?
And we have us with Desi.
I'll never not be your ride or die.
And then we have with us Tyler. Tyler, you're on, dude. We're live, dude. We are live right now.
I thought it's pre-recorded.
No, Tyler, dude, don't freak out, dude.
Are we live right now?
Don't freak out. We've talked about this. Do not. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh my gosh, it happened again. Jeez. Oh man, it happened. I know. This is terrible. This is unsettling. You okay? You all right, buddy?
I'm calm.
You're calm. Okay. All right. We're good. We're good. So, little silly start. That's fine. That's what this movie is. It's a fun movie, right? So when we first were talking about doing moving to Wednesdays, we were like, let's do a lot more of like the new stuff. And so we put together this team to talk about this movie, and everybody was required to watch this movie once. Has anybody seen it more than once? Yeah, exactly. So everybody's seen this movie a few times, and let me ask you a question, starting with Tyler, because Tyler, you were the one who first saw it and was like, "Hey, I have to be on Deep in the Plus to talk about this." What is it? What is it about this movie that like really got to you?
It was the amount of Toronto that was a character itself in this movie. I'm Canadian. I live just north of Toronto, so if somebody says, "Where are you from?" I say Toronto. And, the question is how much Toronto's in this movie? A lot. Toronto is a character in itself. And also, they turn into a big furry animal. And I am 1,000% a furry, so I was really wanted to be able to talk about this.
1,000% a furry. You should get that bumper sticker. That's perfect. I love it. And then again, Desi spoke up and was like, "Hey, I got to talk about this one too." So, what is it that really kind of made you love this movie?
It's about an Asian girl who was a teenager in 2002, and I feel like I could relate to everything that was happening to her.
Okay. I'm just making sure. I feel like, are we frozen on the stream?
No, I
People
see us
just
moving
got
on.
it ahead.
Nobody else thinks so.
Okay, just making sure.
Just refresh, yo.
Bad.
Just refresh, yo. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Anyway, Eric!
Okay. Cool. Yeah, you know what? Eric's thing is always the same because he's Mr. Pixar, and so you were looking forward to this one, not as much as Lightyear, but you were looking forward to this one, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just, I don't know, I felt something was gonna be different with this movie. I was not expecting it to like it as much as I do, but we'll get into that.
Okay. Well, and I think that was the kind of a key thing that of most of the people I talked about. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. And let's back up a second and talk about the same thing we've talked about a bunch of times with Pixar, is that ever since Onward, there has not been a Pixar movie in the theaters. We had Soul came out at Christmas on Disney Plus, and again, not premiere access, but for free. And then we had Luca drop, and then just last week we had Turning Red drop. Again, let me go back to you on this, Wolf. Can you see any reason? I mean, I heard a rumor, and I don't know if this is true, that maybe it was Chapek or somebody at Disney going, "Hey, this was John Lasseter's baby, and now we can do whatever we want to with it, and Disney animation movies are doing better." Can you think of any reason why these would be going direct to Disney Plus? I mean, Pixar was like the big dog. This is the one we all look forward to.
Yeah, it's so weird because, like, I think it was today. It was either today or yesterday. Turning Red and Pixar announced that it was like the #1 Disney Plus streaming movie. So it's such a weird thing, and at the same time, I'm actually proud and happy that, you know, this did become that, you know, it's become to that status. So, you know, Disney can suck it. And
Wow,
just
no,
like
no,
your-
no, 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 no. We shh. Don't ever say that again. Not in my house. No. So, no. But if it is in fact replacing or going to the top of the list, then it's replacing Encanto. So this is Pixar beating Disney then at this point, even though Encanto has been on the streams for so long. We just talked about on Disney Entertainment News today how it has had 180 million watches, and a lot of that is rewatches.
Yeah.
And obviously, as is evident by this panel, we're going to see a lot of rewatches on this one as well. So let me shoot back down to Desi and ask you a different question about this one in regards to, this is a PG rating on this movie. As a parent, have you let your kids watch it, and do you think it deserves a PG?
I mean, she says the C word. I mean, not the C
Whoa,
word.
whoa, whoa! What is wrong with you people tonight? Come on, this is family show.
She says a C word that like kind of caught me off guard. It was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe she said that. It's definitely the PG C word, not the R one.
It's park backwards.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay.
So that kind of caught me off guard. The kids didn't seem to notice. I think all they cared about was, look, big red furry panda, that's cute. They weren't as into the storyline itself. I mean, they're pretty young. They're 2.
Yeah. So there's a special scene in this one. And, you know, when we heard about Turning Red, I think that it was, I think maybe Eric, you and I were on with like Katie and Tom, and we did a special Deep in the Plus talking about the investors call that talked about all the stuff that was coming. And they were like, Pixar Turning Red. And we're like, it's about a 13-year-old girl. So, I mean, we kind of thought this was a puberty sort of a situation.
You took it exactly the same way as Ming did.
Well, that's the question, though.
You
Did
went
your
straight
kids
there.
go? Did your kids go, Mom? What are they doing? Like, what is it that she's so upset about? Or it
It
just
went
kind of
right over their heads.
that's the sweet spot. That's the perfect spot. When the adults know and the kids don't, then you know they've done their job right. But yeah, I think some people got upset about that. I don't. It's whatever. But in watching the making of afterwards, they talked about this as her magical puberty. The fact that she is turning into a red panda is kind of her rite of passage, and something that happens to all the women in her family. So, and as is in any good movie, there have been secrets kept. They never told her, by the way, when you hit around teenage years, you're going to turn into a red panda. So, buckle up. And they weren't ready for that. But there's this part near the end, and I know I'm jumping around, but there's a part near the end where she's like, get used to it, Mom. I'm changing. I'm different. I'm 13. I like boys. I like to gyrate.
Gyration.
So I guess my next question is, Tyler, was this the same speech you gave your parents?
No, you didn't.
So, first off, people in the chat said, "Where's the fursona?" So I guess I got to put this back on while I answer that, which will sound very weird. There we go. The headphones came off a little. Anyways,
It's fine. You look fantastic.
slightly crooked. No, I mean, genuinely, I didn't say anything to my family until I was like almost done high school. And we're talking a completely different kind of conversation. One that maybe Tyler in the movie would have to have with his family afterwards.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing. I'm just saying he likes boy bands. And
Sure.
He's
Yep.
a boy, and maybe, that means something. Anyways. But
No.
yeah. I don't know. Puberty's a thing. I don't know how to talk about it. It's so weird.
You don't have to talk about it. We don't have to talk about that or Bruno, so we're covered there. But I will say that the one thing I think I sort of missed at first is that this movie takes place in 2002. I think that's really important to
Yep.
know looking back on it, is it takes place in 2002. And there was a little bit of a
It
confusion
says
that I
that.
had. Well, do what now?
It says 2002, but I feel like a lot of it is more like 1998. Because Tamagotchis weren't still popular by 2002. people weren't still wearing the banana clips in their hair by 2002. That all felt really 1998 to me instead of 2002. But I get that they wanted to be able to use cell phones and texting as part of the storytelling device. So I think that's the only reason they made it set in 2002.
Well,
and maybe there was a red moon then too. Maybe there wasn't one in 1998.
and this is the subtle hint they give us about it, is that it's 2002. So
I think there's a joke in How I Met Your Mother where Robin says the 90s didn't come to Canada until 2000 and something.
Yes.
If she says 2002, I think you're muted, Wolf. If she says 2002, that would be amazing.
yeah.
I was just about to say, I was like, wait, could it be that Toronto's just a little behind? You know?
In 2002, I would have been 11, and I would have probably been in like grade 6 or 7. No, that's not right. I would have been in like grade 5 or 6. And it was
in high school.
Tamagotchis were like maybe a couple of years before that, but everything else feels like about right to me.
But boy bands, again, were waning by 2002. Like, I think the Backstreet Boys Hits CD came out in 2002 because they were starting to lose popularity. They had to put something out. It wasn't fully new music then. The last time they had like a really popular CD was probably in 2000 with Millennium. I'm a big BSB fan, in case you guys couldn't tell.
What? All right, back up
I
a
was
second.
May, but about Backstreet Boys.
Back up
Nick
a second.
Carter.
What is a CD?
Ooh.
It's
No, we're
what
good.
people
We're good.
used to listen to before the internet.
So, right. So, again, we're going to kind of jump around about this one because I think in this particular case, we want to talk really more about the movie and as a whole of what it means, and we'll kind of jump in and out of the story itself rather than go through the story beginning to end. But one of the things that caught me from the beginning, and I didn't understand myself if I liked it or not, was the animation intro style. It was very all over the place. It was not, you know, in a specific reality. It didn't have any special rules. She's jumping around, she's narrating, and then like there's a scene where she's jumping around with all the title at the beginning, like breaking down the fourth wall immediately. But there's Toronto in the background, so that's nice. Do you want to go through all those buildings for us and tell us what all those things are, Tyler?
Okay, so the street she's on, like the street that she is in the movie, is basically Chinatown of Toronto. It is. I think it's Spadina. Tom, Spadina. Yeah. It's Spadina. Which.
All right, go ahead and say what you were going to say. You were talking about.
It wasn't just me. Okay.
No, I think it was everybody.
Yeah, Toronto. That particular area that Mei lives in is Chinatown, which is Spadina. There's Chinese stores. There's a lot of Japanese stuff, like. Oh my gosh. There's Japanese stuff. There's like anime stores. They sell manga and all that kind of stuff. There's some Vietnamese faux places. It's a big old culture hub right there. And sorry, I said it wrong. But yeah, that's a real place. That's a real street. There are TTC streetcars, not Transportation and Ticket Center. That is the Toronto Transit Commission.
Yeah.
She shows a card of that in the movie, and she specifically says, according to the Toronto Transit Commission, the first like 10 minutes of this movie, like all the jumping around and stuff, like I got more of a character of her within the first like 5 minutes of this movie than any other movie I've ever seen, to be completely honest. Mm-hmm. Like I get her. And after like the first 5-10 minutes of that, of the jumping around, of showing Toronto, of showing the streetcars and everything, I was like, I'm gonna love this movie. Like, I felt that. I felt everything, and it was honestly, it was very anime with the way she was moving around. Like, if you watch the 3D animated Lupin the Third movie, like it kind of has that same animation vibe where things are on kind of like a very specific keyframes they're trying to hit, rather than something that's like very hand motiony, motion captured. Like, this was animated, like in a very specific way, and it looks great to me.
Well, really, the good thing about this panel is that we have you to explain to us everything that's like factual about Canada, and then we have Desi to explain everything that's factual about being a teenage Asian girl. So you guys, offset each other pretty well here, right? And then Wolf for anything Pixar. I'm just here, so it's fine.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. There you go. Wonder Twin Powers. That was really good. It was almost like we practiced it as much as we practiced that intro. Thanks a lot. There are a lot of little weirdness things that happen in here, anime like ish style, and I have this shot of, I guess it was a dream sequence of Four Town, like this little thing.
We see into her reality. I loved that part.
Yeah.
Those parts.
Yeah.
Like where she opens the magazine and like light bursts out at everybody.
One other thing about the animation is, are you guys familiar with Wallace and Gromit?
I know who Wallace and Gromit are. I couldn't say I'm a Wallace and Gromit stan. Like, I haven't watched everything.
Oh, you're not? Okay. Well, if you say so. But Wallace and Gromit, May's character a lot of times reminded me of the way the face was done of Wallace and Gromit, like of Wallace. Nobody else saw that?
Oh, very squash
that.
and squish kind of. It's very just
Like the mouth,
the wide
specifically.
mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. So let me see if I can real quick find you a picture of Wallace. Okay, I got it. So it's fine. We have, here is Mei. It's a little bit far off, but you can see her face and the mouth and the cheeks and the whole thing. Is that a place that we know that's the Chinatown area you were talking about, Tyler? The street?
Yeah.
Or are there actually streetcars? Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
there
cool.
are streetcars. They don't look like that anymore, but
Okay.
now we got like futuristic Disney World monorail looking things. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. There was something about it, especially he would always go, geez, like this kind of a thing. And there was a scene with her when she's at the table when they're trying to keep her there with food, and she goes to the table and she goes like this, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it feels like somebody along the way figured out that it was a Wallace and Gromit situation. But
I
anyway,
think a lot of people have been equating that like face structure to be like what current cartoons look like now. Like people have put like World of Gumball, Dipper from Gravity Falls, Steven Universe next to each other, and they all have that same kind of mouth design, and they're calling it the Cal Arts style because like everyone who comes out of Cal Arts wanting to do animation, that's what they all kind of look like. But I think that's this era. That's what most cartoons are. Not all of them. It's just some of them are going to kind of follow a similar style if you try and find those things.
Yeah, no, definitely.
so after we get the intro and we kind of meet who she is, she tells us who she is, like she's in our face about who she is, and then she introduces us to all of her friends, and again, it's very anime-like that she's walking through the hallways and talking about her friends, Miriam, Abby, and Priya. I feel like Abby is freaking hilarious. No, just me? Like her, just like that. I want Abby
so
energy
intense.
in my life is what I want. So... What were you going to say,
I want
Jesse?
Abby energy, but I'm probably more of a Priya.
Oh,
But
yeah,
all of her friends, I love them. They're so funny.
yeah.
Such great characters.
They are. I mean, it seems like a very well-rounded movie, and versus the last animated movie that we watched which was Encanto, which has like what 900 main characters in it. There weren't really a ton of main characters in this one, which made it so that I think you kind of related to each of them very quickly and got to know them.
I was actually thinking about that earlier, and I think that there are just as many main characters as there are in Encanto, because you've got Mei, her mom and dad, her 4 best friends, Tyler, like
Not me.
her grandma, all of the aunties. Yeah, that's a lot of people, and I feel like we had more character development for Mei than we had for Mirabelle.
Yeah. No, you're right. I will say though that one of my favorite scenes, I think, is when
Yeah.
Yes.
when
I've
she
been here. I've
Yeah.
been here with
Me.
like the
Yep.
drawing
I-
anime boys and hiding
Same.
it from my
All the
family.
time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the whole like blocking of that bit where she's like kind of looked and she stopped and she dropped the thing and then rolls under the bed. Like the comedic
Yes.
timing of that was probably my second favorite comedic timing moment of the whole thing. But you've been in a situation, Tyler, where you're like drawing something and like you don't really know what you're drawing?
Yeah, for me it was Yu-Gi-Oh.
And
I read
No.
I read Shonen Jump when I was younger, and there would be all these very attractive anime boys, and you know, my friend who introduced me to manga was reading it for the completely different reason that I was. He was looking at all the pretty girls, and I was looking at all these boys, and that's how Mei feels. Mei is like drawing these characters, and that face she makes when she's like drawing them, where she was like, oh, like the thing that's become a meme now. Every artist is putting their own art into like what Mei is drawing. There's so many memeable moments, and everyone's just inserting stuff.
It's so good.
speaking of moments,
Yeah, we've all been there.
there are a couple super embarrassing moments, and Wolf,
Oh my gosh.
the Daisy Mart one with her mom. Have you ever have you ever had a moment that was that embarrassing that you had your parents involved with, where you're like, as soon as you saw this one, you had flashbacks or PTSD?
Oh no.
Okay.
I am not that type of person at all. But the thing was, for me and that specific scene, was the fact that, you know, like in this movie we jump around with reality and her reality. So it was very difficult for me to watch that and be like, is this real?
Yeah!
This can't be real. This
I felt the
cannot be
exact
real.
same way. I was like, this is way too ridiculous to be not a nightmare sequence.
Yeah.
And then it
That's
kept
exactly what I
going,
said
and
to
I'm
my
like,
husband.
oh my god.
I was like, "Oh, this is for sure just a nightmare sequence. This isn't real."
Yeah.
And then like when they got back in the car, I was like, "Oh, that really
That's
just
when
happened."
it hit me, when they got in the car, and I was just like, oh, that
When she
happened.
takes those drawings and she has them and she starts going like this, and you're like, and she's going, no.
So I had a crush on the clerk at the local Eckerd, and my mom.
I mean, who didn't?
Like, I didn't know what his name was or anything.
Devin.
Actually, I think it was Evan.
Oh my gosh.
Evan. And so my mom would come and just like make sly hints, but she never would have done the full slap down of my drawings. Like, don't you come near my daughter.
Yeah.
That was a bit much.
Before we move on from this image, though, I have a question for Tyler. Is like, I would hope that whatever this is that's maple, I assume that's syrup. That's is that a real thing? Because if so, please send me a bottle of whatever that is. That looks
Yeah.
amazing. Is it with that maple maple leaf bottle?
Well,
Like a
first
Maple Leaf
off,
bottle.
Daisy Mart is a real convenience store.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. At one
that's
point,
so
they're
cool.
eating Tim Hortons.
Let's go-
The morning they have Tim Hortons Timbits on the table. It's the real logo.
Which, I'm
and
sorry,
everything.
that seems
there's a lot of
hilarious too.
real stuff. There is a Daisy Mart. I know a guy named Taft. I don't. Yeah, they sell Canadian maple syrup in like Canadian leaf bottles.
With the
In
maple
Niagara
leaf bottle?
Falls, there's tons of like bad Canadian stores, and they have that kind of nonsense there. We just sell it in regular bottles.
Did they place this bottles of ketchup on the shelf in homage to Bob Chapek?
Oh, I mean, the whole color palette of this Daisy Mart fits in with like the pastel color palette of the movie, but the Mart is specifically like drenched in green and purples. Like, obviously, red and green are these complementary colors. That's why pathways at Disney are red, so that it complements the green of the grass a little bit more. And yeah, there's green all over this movie. And then when she goes back in the car and she's like, that'll never happen again. Like the red Daisy Mart sign is like shining on May specifically. Like Pixar is so good about that color theory in their movies and telling a story with like lighting.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, we had a $10 super chat from Rosita, which I don't know if she's still here or not, but thank you for the super chat that said, "Hello, Robin gang. Sorry I'm late, but I don't even see this movie yet, but I'm tuning in anyway." So thank you, Rosita. We appreciate it. I know that's a danger, right? And so like if y'all haven't gone back and watched Encanto's review that Desi and I did, or the Star Wars review that we did for Book of Boba Fett, please go back and watch those. I was actually talking to our one of our friends, Jake, and he was like, "I'm going to go watch Free Guy." Finally, I'm like, "You didn't watch the review before?" And he said, "No, because I hadn't seen the movie, but I'll go back and watch it now." So we understand that by doing a lot of new things, we're probably excluding some folks, but so we appreciate you guys watching the movie. I know a lot of times Chief and some of you folks will say, well, you're doing your homework for Deep in the Plus, which we really appreciate you doing. And again, we all did our homework thoroughly for this one. So it was a lot of fun. So again, Rosita, thank you for the super chat. As always, we appreciate you. So now let's talk a little bit about Four Town.
Yeah.
Yes. So
let's talk about Four Town.
Let's talk. Desi, you started talking about Four Town.
Aaron Z was definitely the best one.
Sure.
I was such a BSB girl, and thank God my parents took me to all of the concerts. And I got to see Celine Dion, so, my parents wanted to see Celine Dion. I got to see the Backstreet Boys. It was a little give and take. The fact that the mom was like, they aren't Celine Dion. Like, do a little bit of both. Take Mei Lee to see Celine Dion for you. Go with her to Four Town. That's how it should be.
Well, when she said something about $200 tickets, the first thing I thought was, now I don't feel so bad about how much I paid for My Chemical Romance tickets. So, because I spent way too much money. But so with Four Town though, there was a scene where, and it reminded me, I actually did see NSYNC in concert, and it was
terrible. I am a BSB girl all the way.
How dare you? There was a year I saw the trilogy. I saw Britney, BSB, and NSYNC in the same year. I mean, come on.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I'm on
it's pretty
98
amazing.
degrees. Should I get my CDs out?
If you have any O-Town over there, Wolf, that'd be great. No O-Town?
I like S Club.
Yes!
I will put my photo of me with 98 degrees in the Discord chat for the Wigs.
Oh, thank goodness. Because, wait a minute. Let me see. Let me count how many people asked for that.
Oh,
none.
Everyone.
No, nobody's asked for that. No one. But here they are. Here are the boys.
Gosh,
so good.
With
which band did the white? That was who had the Millennium album?
That was Backstreet Boys.
That was BSB. Yeah.
I mean, that's clearly what they're doing here.
This is straight up BSB at the end of what's that movie where it's like the end of the world?
This is the end. This is the end.
Yes,
such a good movie. Yes.
Also a good movie. Yeah.
That alone would be a reason to love BSB. The way that they were in that movie. Oh my gosh, that was the best ending to a movie ever. Skip
100%.
to the end. Skip to the end. It's fantastic. Some of the stuff with Jonah Hill was a little bit dark, but man, when you get to the end with BSB, it was fantastic. So anyway, they have the voices of an angel, and now they're flying like angels. Isn't that great with Four Town? So the music,
never not be by your side.
The music was written by Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas, which is again kind of crazy for a movie like this that they would do that, but just way cool that they put that together. I think
music is so good. Mm-hmm. I have literally not stopped listening to those 3 songs over and over since I watched this movie. And also like as I was scrolling down, like as I was listening to the soundtrack, which has the score on it as well, which is also an amazing score, the last 3 tracks, it just says Phineas O'Connell, and I'm like, oh, is that like a different cover? Nope, they were karaoke tracks, and I'm like, yes, I love when soundtracks put on the actual official instrumental onto the soundtrack. That is like A+ in my book.
Well, I got to tell you though, there is a moment that it's jumping to the end, but there was a moment with the music that I got a little bit of chills, a little bit of that Disney moment when Town appears in shadow at the top. I'm like, all right, okay. Like, I mean, there's something about that moment, right?
The way they brought the music in, these two completely different realms of music, and they made it part of the story. Like, they knew this was a group of people who knew what they were making. Like, somebody had a vision for this movie. Take notes, Disney. You take one writer and director and screenwriter, and you let them make the movie they want, and you don't ruin it. Although Disney probably cut out a lot of LGBT stuff. Let's be fair. And you let them do the movie they want. And yeah, there's like, as soon as they mentioned that, we have to sing a chant. You just sing it from your heart. I'm like, Town's coming into this somehow. I don't know how. And then the part at the end, the French join in, and then they come out, and I'm like, I was
kind of hoping for Tony Bennett to show up at some point, because Mr. Gal was like, I like Tony Bennett. But...
Wait, Wolf, do me a favor. Lay down that beat one more time. Come on.
Boots and cats.
Boots and cats.
So good.
Never met nobody. I gotta do a parody.
And then the cherry on top is our boy Jordan Fisher as Robert. Oh my gosh.
I don't think I knew that was Jordan Fisher.
What? Jordan Fisher. I mean, if it's Disney, Pixar, Marvel, he's in. He's in all of it.
I love that she named her Tamagotchi Robert Jr.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And very cool that they each had like their own. It's like, but Jesse's going to be so disappointed if you don't show up. Like, I mean,
this is skipping ahead to the end, but did the mom's panda eat Robert Jr.? Because
probably.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Or became them.
Yeah. So in this movie, she has this panda curse, and the only way to get rid of it is under the blood red moon, to be able to have a shaman put her in a circle and send her into a dreamscape where she then goes into a mirror and the panda comes out, and then they have to lock the panda in some sort of a talisman. And so for her mom, it's a necklace, and for Mei, it's going to be a necklace. They show it, it's the same necklace that her mom has. But for every other member of the family, it's always something different. It's the hair clip. It's like what looked like earrings. It's just weird across the board.
Like a ring.
Yeah. So we just did a review of Luck of the Irish, and for Luck of the Irish, he had a magic talisman, and he would carry it around with him. But it was the luck of the entire family that he was carrying with him. And Patrick said in that review, why would you give something so precious to a teenager to wear around all the time? Which then makes me think, why wouldn't mom have that talisman locked in a box somewhere rather than wear it and risk cracking it like she did?
Maybe, their life force is also tied to the panda.
False.
So they need to be close to the panda.
No, I feel like there was maybe an unspoken thing that they because couldn't they just throw it away or something, or bury it in a hole? I think there was some unspoken thing that it's a part of them and they need to hold it with them or something, because it's such a huge thing to Mei that the panda is a part of her, or that's an aspect of her, really. So it's something she didn't want to get rid of. So I think maybe there was just that little tiny thing that we were missing, and then a little explanation.
And then to Desi's point, at the very end, when they need to put the pandas in something else, Mama gets hers put into a Tamagotchi, which all of a sudden also looks like a panda. I don't know if
to feed it. It's conscious.
Well, yeah, it looks like her.
It's her panda. It's literally her panda. It's got the hair. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Did anybody here have a Tamagotchi?
Yep.
Guilty.
I kept dying all the time. I couldn't take care of it.
Desi, what was your record for how long you could keep it alive?
I think I had it alive for like a month at least. That had to be, I'm pretty sure. I kept it alive for a while.
Okay.
I think a month's pretty good. No?
No, absolutely. And Tyler, what was your record? How many days?
Not very long. I had to push the reset button constantly. I had other things to worry about, and then like it was a fad. Everyone had one, and then no one wanted to play with it. We all just needed to have one because you couldn't not have one. What? You don't have any crazy bones? Then you're not my friend this week. Like that was being a kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what, Eric, you didn't have one?
Oh, I did. I had one. Have no idea how long I had it for, but I do know that I had my Furby for a while. So that's it.
Okay, so let's jump back to Mama Lee and her efforts to just ruin May's life. And this was something we saw in the trailer, right? I mean, like Tyler can't even look past his paws on this one. The idea that she's trying to help her, but in trying to help her, she keeps hurting the situation. I think that's the lesson that is in here, at least maybe that the director was trying to say, that her mother maybe was so oppressive on her, was there all the time, and, the feeling that she felt. So even if this wasn't the reality, and kind of like you were talking about, Wolf, like you can't imagine this wasn't a dream sequence, the reality of this situation being that maybe this is how she felt, but maybe not as bad as it was. But yeah, so mom is like stalking her and trying to make sure she's okay, and yet in doing so, she's going to make her turn red again. Fun times.
Yeah.
Apparently, that wasn't a question as so much as a statement, so we're done there.
But too real.
Yeah.
People have said online, oh, no one's mom is like that. False. My mom was 100% like that. And I know this is like a lighthearted review. I'm about to get real for a second. My mom was a gigantic liar. She was incredibly manipulative, and she would do anything in her power to make me happy in whatever way she thought was the best. And, so circumstances happened, and I don't know if I would have gotten out of that if she wasn't gone. But there are people who are stuck in families like that, and it's dark, but you know what? That's why I loved the movie, because at the end, turns out, the mom was making wrong choices, and May punches her mom in the face, and I went, yeah, because she deserves it. So, that's why this movie seems way better than all these other Disney movies where it's like, oh, family, it's so important. I'm like, you know what? That's not how it is for a lot of people, and here's a pretty good example of a kid who's like, no, the decisions my mom is making for me are actually horrible, and I need to do my thing, and I'm gonna beat her up as a giant kaiju monster.
So, Tyler, not to lessen any of that you just shared with us, but did you cheer for the gunshot in Bambi?
No.
Wow.
All right, so moving on. There was another bit of animation style that there was another bit of animation style that happened in here when she explains to May about, finally comes clean with her about the curse or the blessing or whatever you want to call it, and she opens up a scroll and we kind of zoom into the scroll, and now we have a different style of animation that is really more of like a 2D animation.
Good.
Yeah, right? So, Wolf, we've seen this in Princess and the Frog and other things like that where they switch animation styles to tell a different story. But, what did you think of all this?
I love when they do it, and Turning Red did it in such a wonderful way because it was very much so like Asian, like older Asian, oh my gosh, what are they called? I guess like scrolls and stuff that you see.
Like tapestries?
So that was tapestries and stuff. Yeah, that was really, really cool to be able to see. And they just animated that sequence just beautifully. And yeah, no, I fell in love with that, just that sequence alone, as well as, like the whole movie. It was really, really a cool one.
Yeah, I mean, I love that it's like after I've seen it, I'm like, wait a minute, they just took me somewhere else within the same movie.
Yeah.
They transported me somewhere else, but it was so seamless in the way they did it that it wasn't jarring when they did it. Back to comparisons about Canada, though, is this a typical bedroom in Canada, Tyler?
I mean, mine was.
No, I mean,
That was
like
such a sad moment.
I know that to me again was one that stood out, which is why I wanted to bring that up. Is it was such a sad moment where you want your parents to be like comforting, and I think they were trying to be in their own way, right? But what they ended up being was they ended up treating her like the thing that they shouldn't have been treating her like, right? Because they
were still better parents, I think, than Elsa's parents.
I was about to say. Yeah.
Because Elsa's parents were, you need to keep your emotions down so that you don't freeze the whole town. Or in Mei Mei's case, go knock down buildings or whatever. But Elsa's parents were like, we are going to keep you locked in this room and you are not leaving. You can't have any human interaction ever. And Mei Mei's parents still at least let her go hang out with her friends and go to school and have, normal, healthy relationships outside of her barren bedroom.
Barren bedroom, yeah. And you know what? Honestly, it was. I mean, it was tough to see that, but you knew they were trying to kind of sort of do it for her own good, right? Mm-hmm. But then her friends come, and her friends are like, "Oh, you're a giant panda," and then of course Abby just keeps wanting her to change into a panda so she can hug on her. I
can relate.
I mean, while I get that, this is still her
to?
friend, does that not make that weird? I mean, not that you wouldn't hug your friend, but just the whole like, hey, could you turn fuzzy so that I can get some of that?
If my friend could turn into a panda anytime they wanted to, I would say please turn into a panda so that I could snuggle up with that. That's adorable.
What about a marshmallow?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, sorry. I saw the new
Ghostbusters
movie, so no.
No.
Do you know my fursona is called Marshmallow?
Yes, that's why. Or she doesn't know that. That's why I said that. Because she said.
She said you meant like an actual marshmallow because they're big and squishy.
No.
Oh my god.
But speaking of marshmallows, and I'm trying to find it here, but when Mei turns, like, she decides she's not going to let them take her panda away, and in doing so she fights with her mom and her aunties, and it happens that she breaks her mom's talisman, which then sets free her mom's panda. And then her mom's panda is like, basically coming for blood. And when she does, and she's walking through the town, that felt like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man to me from Ghostbusters.
100%.
Yeah, as she's walking through.
I was thinking King Kong, but now that you've said that, okay, I get it.
It was very Godzilla.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own giant kaiju monsters.
Yeah.
Some of them are marshmallow people. Some of them are.
It was definitely like the green, green Power Rangers Megazord. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other thing that we haven't really talked about here is, and let me see if I'm hoping that I can find the big monster here, because it was just so perfect. But again, I didn't have it. There we go.
Oh, Toronto note: the Sky Dome is real.
But doesn't that look like?
It is currently called the Rogers Center. It became the Rogers Center in 2004. So the 2002 being Sky Dome, and then the thing that happens to the Sky Dome, it kind of makes sense.
That's so fun.
I was actually going to ask you if you were alive when the panda attack actually happened.
Oh yeah.
Were you there?
Everyone remembered when it was the Sky Dome. I was watching this, I'm like,
Panda Pop.
I was like, as the mom leans in, Pandacalypse. As the mom was like leaning in and screaming like May's name, I was like, so that's why it needed to be the Sky Dome, because you could have done a concert at any location.
Just
but
anywhere.
again, it was Toronto. They wanted to like root it in, the CN Towers and all the shots in the back. And if a boy band's going to perform, it's going to be the Sky Dome.
Yeah.
And then the mom rips open the roof of the Sky Dome, which the Sky Dome is called that because the roof actually retracts so that it can be, enclosed or outdoors. And yeah, I was just like, that's why it was the Sky Dome, because this needed to happen.
So,
did anyone think that this was going to end with a kaiju monster fight, by the way?
No, I didn't. But let me ask you, first of all, when we're talking about a concert and a boy band, the intro where they have their hand up and it's going 4, 3, 2, that is such a moment that would have been at a boy band concert, right? This whole like dramatic and the music kind of like they got the bass turned up to 11.
The thing that was the most unrealistic was that there were still floor seats available day of the concert. That would never happen for Backstreet Boys.
We're not at that level yet.
Yeah, can we talk about the fact that Mei didn't pay her admission to get in? I mean, she basically $200. Isn't that like grand larceny in Canada?
And she was
oh my
falling
gosh,
through the roof.
She did. She just fell through.
Yeah, she's leaping, and she
like...
jumps fully through the roof, and she's just falling like Link in Breath of the Wild. And I'm like, what? It kind of looks kind of like she's gonna just smack into the ground. But also, no one else around the stadium saw this.
But she uses the panda and turning in and out of the panda at this point as some sort of like a cushion, right? Because when she falls off and fighting her mom, she uses it to kind of bounce, like she's using, like Shazam would with the lightning bolt to hit somebody. It's just she uses that as kind of like a bounce situation.
I like it because she lands and she kind of like missteps and she corrects herself and she's like,
stuck the landing. The other thing about this that I think Tyler really wanted to talk about is Tyler. Tyler likes to talk about Tyler.
I never hear my name in movies and TV shows and stuff. Tyler is not a common name. Well, yeah, fair. So to watch a movie like this and there's a character named Tyler and they're like, well, what about Tyler? No, Tyler's a really stupid dorkhead, okay? Like, and I'm sitting there laughing. And then he becomes such like a prime character in the movie. Like he's kind of a bullyish character. He's like blackmailing Mei. He's like, if you come to my party, I won't tell your mom that you turn into a panda. But it's also like, come to my party because if you come, people will be there and otherwise no one will be there. And that's when I started to get the feeling that Tyler's kind of a lonely guy. And I could recognize with that. And then he's... And then he's at the concert, and they're like, Tyler? And he's like, what? I like Fort Town, okay? And they're like, ah! And then he's in their group. He's their friend group.
Besties, yeah.
And he becomes the 5th Fort Town member for their team.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why is there 5 people if it's called Fort Town? Because there were 4 people, and then a 5th person joined. And that's who Tyler is to their group. And then all the guys
at the end of the movie, he gets a friendship bracelet.
Oh, he does?
He does. He has a friendship bracelet at the end.
He is wearing a headband the whole movie because he plays sports, but Aaron Z is also wearing a headband. And when Aaron Z shows up at the concert, like when he busts out of the cage, Tyler goes,
and
I love you!
Aaron Z on his sunglasses.
And as he's saying, I love you, Aaron Z, I go,
aha!
So
he's got earrings, and he's in love with Tyler, or he's in love with Aaron Z.
Go ahead,
I thought for sure it was going to be, he's picking on her because he likes her, just because that's like the trope. But I kind of like that they did something different with it, and it wasn't just he's picking on her because he likes her.
Let's talk about an iconic scene that really sets the stage for what year this is.
I got my first cell phone in 2002, and it looked a lot like that pink one.
Second from the left.
Same. That was the one I had.
Yeah, second from the left.
Yep, that's what this is. Tag yourself.
It didn't have the rainbow heart and the unicorn on it, though. Not yet.
Did you? Didn't you? Wasn't that a thing? Hey, you know what? We've had a lot of fun here, and hopefully everybody who's watching has had a chance to give us a thumbs up, to like this, to subscribe to Unplanned Downtime. But there's a little bit of unfinished business we need to do here. It's Desi's favorite part of any Deep in the Plus review.
Oh no.
Time for trivia. Who's up for trivia? Y'all just saw this movie, and we all admitted it, not once, but the 2 times. So
Yep.
yeah. So this should be pretty easy because you guys are going to be pretty invested in this. And as a matter of fact, I feel like Tyler's probably going to be like a little cheaty on this one because he's probably going to know things that I thought were made up that are clearly real. So,
Okay.
you ready?
I don't know where you're going with this.
This is an easy start. In the movie when it first starts, Mei Lee says that she's officially grown up according to who?
Oh, the transit.
The Toronto Transit
Yeah,
Commission.
Yep, the TTC, which I didn't think we were going to call out, but again, resident Canadian down here, and he talked about it early on. That's fine.
I did say it earlier and I forgot.
When she is talking about, and she's introducing herself, she says, I can do what I want, I can say what I want. They show her flute case, and there is a sticker in the middle of her flute case. What does that sticker in the middle of her flute case say?
I think it just says, like, I love math?
Wow. Wow.
I'm close.
It's very close. This girl loves math, is what it said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good, very good. I noticed Desi's being super quiet down there, so
I said Toronto Transit Commission.
I know, but on that last one I meant. So the next one, when she walks into the school and we are introduced to her friends, Priya is reading a book. What's the name of the book?
Nightfall.
Oh, man, I should have known that.
Boom! Which would have been like a Twilight thing, right? I mean, I think that's where they were going with that anyway. But
Was
wow.
Twilight in that era? Like, I think, definitely not the movie,
I feel
but
like
the
it was
books.
a little after.
Yeah.
I think
Slightly
Twilight was
after,
way
'cause I think-
more, yeah.
Because I was in high school in 2002, and I think Twilight was more popular when I was in college.
I was in high school shortly after 2002, so yeah, that sounds about right.
Who is her school named after? What is the name of her school? Oh, is it a real school, by the way, before you answer?
Yes, Lester
Yes.
B. Pearson was a Prime Minister of Canada. It is also the name of our airport, Pearson International Airport.
Wow.
And I remember
Did
when I
you go
first
to
saw
the
the trailer. No, that school doesn't exist in Toronto. It's like a little bit north. There's a place called North York. So there's one there, I think that's called like an elementary school. I looked this up. There's one that's an elementary school, and then there's another one that's like Lester B. Pearson Public School. So there's a couple of things named after him. But I remember when I watched the trailer, I'm like, that was the first shot, was Lester B. Pearson exterior school. And I was like, why does that name sound so familiar? And then you see the CN Tower in the background. I'm like, oh my God, this movie takes place in Toronto. That's wicked. And then I started to get very excited.
Okay. This one should be easy if you watch. There was a making of called Embracing the Panda, and they talked about it.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
So I feel like I know Tyler watched it, right?
Yeah.
Did you watch it, Wolf?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Outside the temple that her family operates, there are 2 red pandas, and she's given them names. What are their names?
Oh, yeah.
Bart and Lisa.
Bart
Bart
and Lisa.
and Lisa, yeah.
Okay. There you go. Pretty easy.
I mean, that was in the movie.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know, but I mean, I think that they revisit it in a scene in the
Yeah,
Embracing
no.
the Panda, so it's you double down on it. There's a magazine with Town on it, and it is a joke of Tiger Beat, but it is not Tiger Beat magazine. What is it?
Oh.
Teen Beat.
Is it Panda Beat?
No.
I don't know.
Is that
Lion
Teen
Beat?
You're close, Wolf. It is Tween Beat.
Tween
Oh,
Beat.
okay.
Yes. Okay, and then finally, because y'all did pretty well with all of these. I'm slipping, or it's just because you guys just watched this movie twice. But as May is leaving to go work for her mom in the very beginning, and she is with her friends, She's been given a bootleg copy of a 4-town tour. What was the tour?
Australia 1999?
Yes! Was it?
I thought it was.
Sir, wow. Nailed it.
I can't
Seriously.
believe I remembered that.
Yes, it is the 99 Australian tour. Wow,
I like
beautiful.
the girl. I like your jeans.
That's what I thought. It was something
I'm like,
about
yo, I
jeans.
need that song.
This is
They were
this
like,
is the
"Draw on a
second
Sharpie?"
best that anybody's ever done on trivia. So congratulations to all of you. The first best was when I had one question on Book of Boba Fett and Desi knew the answer. That was the best. Yeah. So she was 100% on that one. But, you know, we have fun. It's a lot of fun. So one other thing I want to talk about is, as far as the parks go, this was something that was a streaming event, right? So there wasn't a ton of stuff happening in the parks, but there were a few things that happened. One of them I thought was a little bit interesting. Let me see if I can get this queued up here. Is this mess?
Yeah, I tried it.
Did you?
Is it
That was
good?
like, it was Coraline made.
What about that?
Like,
Did
it
you try
looks
the?
like
Did you try that one,
blood
Wolf?
I have not. I'm blocked out this week, but I'll be at Epcot next week to try it.
Pandade?
Beef
Ugh.
stir fry poutine.
What?
What?
Just make poutine.
Here's a photo op at DCA. So yeah, but so apparently, yeah, this is a thing.
Wow, they
Crazy.
really spared no expense.
Well, I mean,
Like they had no expenses to make. This stuff.
they did have this hat available. So
That hat's adorable.
It's
I would buy
literally
that
a
hat.
replica of the hats that they make in the movie, which is why I had to get it.
I want a shirt that says "Fur Baby."
so
There's
They're
so
definitely
much
going to be
good,
selling
like,
those tails, though,
opportunities
right?
for merch.
yeah, okay. Well, I mean, so do we think they're going to do something else with this? Is there anything obvious that they would do with this in the parks? I mean, I guess it depends on how big it gets, but we really haven't seen a lot of tie-in from streaming things. We've seen tie-ins from things that go to the theater. Even Encanto was mostly a streaming popular thing, but it came to theaters first. And, you know, and Mirabelle is now returned, I think, to Disneyland or the DCA to be able to have photo ops and such. So, you know, I feel like that we've got some really good properties here that now that they could do stuff with. So I hope that they do something with it. It seems like an obvious thing would be a red panda meet and greet.
I don't know why they didn't do that.
Yes.
You can make a fursuit.
Yeah, but I mean, can you? Do you know anybody? Do you know anybody that could help them out?
Yeah, the person who made mine.
I'm kidding. It's a joke. So like, but this, like, I saw this in a couple different places. This like stand up, and it feels like they should have been able to do a huge furry suit. I mean, everybody loves giving Chewbacca a hug. Like, why wouldn't you? And again, to the point with Abby, like, can you turn into the turn into the panda so I can get a little bit of that fur? I feel like this would be a big thing to do. You've got the Baymax is probably about the same size, so I feel like you could do it, right? So
Yeah, I would think Baymax or Sully.
Sully is, yeah, but the difference with Sully is Sully has the huge arms, right?
Correct. Sully has those huge arms, yeah.
Yeah. This one, I don't know.
And actually, Tyler should be looking out because they're doing some like Turning Red like tour throughout Canada, and they're bringing like this big, huge, like life-size Panda Mei statue that they had for their premiere. Looks amazing.
I saw that. They did something similar when Big Hero 6 was premiering. They had like a giant Baymax statue, and it was a photo op. Like you can go and like stand next to it or hug it or whatever. It's not a living person. I think the Toronto premiere was last weekend, which I thought was funny because there's a furry convention this weekend. Like that's literally in the building next to the CN Tower. And I had actually initially joked on Facebook. I'm like, they should have done something at this furry con, but they probably wouldn't have. And then somebody on my Facebook yelled at me that it's like, it's a movie about a girl going through a period. Why do you think it should be at a furry convention? Totally inappropriate. And I'm like, okay, calm down. That's
I have some bad news for you. I've looked it up,
irrelevant.
and the last appearance for the Canadian tour is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh,
They already
So-
came to Toronto.
Sault Ste. Marie?
Sault Ste. Marie.
that's like 5 minutes away.
Sorry, it's pronounced Sue.
Stupid American. Stupid American.
There's a video of Obama. He came to Mississauga and he was like, Mississauga? Like, he didn't know how to pronounce it. Mississauga is just west of Toronto. Anyways, I'm just sorry. It's the
Man.
most I've talked about Canada.
No American shaming, please. Good Lord. Come on. Yeah, here's the schedule. So you said March 7, 8, and 9. Man, you had 3 days to do it. What were you wasting your time doing?
This.
I would have absolutely pronounced that salt.
Yeah.
If I saw that before Tyler
know,
said
it's
anything,
fair.
I would have pronounced
It's
it
fair.
salt too.
Yeah. And how did you say you pronounce it?
Sault
Sue?
Ste. Marie.
But Saint, even though usually you see Saint is like ST, right?
Or is
I
that how
don't
they do
know.
it in Canada?
I didn't make
I
it.
don't know. I don't know.
STE looks like sweet for me. Like you're
Yeah.
in sweet C or something like that.
Well, I will say that we could probably continue talking about this movie, and it's funny that I've had people who know that I'm, and maybe you guys have too, that know that I'm a Disney, maniac, and they'll say, "Oh, have you seen Turning Red?" And they want to stop me and they want to talk about it, which I think is kind of cool. That there are so many people who are already into this and want to talk about it. And it dropped March 11th, last Friday. And again, it hasn't even been out a week, and we've all on this panel seen it twice. So, and a lot of people, again, have seen it more than one time. And then the big fight at the end, you're right, we didn't see that coming, but it does kind of give it a different feel. For this movie, and not necessarily what we expected, which is something cool that Pixar has always done, is that give us something we didn't expect. And this one is a very different movie. It's not the same old light. I don't know that I could classify it with anything else either. So it's neat to see some original stuff happening. Pixar was in a little bit of a slump with the sequels for a while, so it's good to see some original stuff. And we're going to see Lightyear Wolf come into the big screen.
Yes.
Are you finally they're going to break free of Disney Plus? Are you excited about that one?
Oh, I am definitely excited. I'll be watching it day of, next day, that weekend. Like, oh my gosh.
Nice. Okay. So anything else before we do our closing on this? Anything else that you guys wanted to add that we didn't talk about? We talked about the music, the boy bands, the time period. We talked about Toronto. Anything else that you guys want to talk about we haven't talked about yet?
Robert is a merman?
I thought that was Devin as a merman.
No, Robert was a merman for a
Devin.
minute too.
Oh, okay. So many mermen.
When she goes into like her like, oh, okay, calm. She thinks that, and then Robert swims in like he's Sora from Atlantica and Kingdom Hearts, and he's like, mi amor.
Oh, that's right.
I do want to say thank you to Stephen Crawford for the super chat that we missed a little bit earlier. Thank you so much for the super chat. Maybe the talismans are more merch opportunities for Disney to make money off of every object in a film. Well,
Yep.
let's not discount that they would do that. But yeah, you're right. Like the talisman, why aren't they selling Panda Tamagotchi? Like, why isn't that a thing that they're going to have?
That's what
right?
I said.
Yeah,
That's
I was like,
smart.
what a horrible
Yeah.
misstep for them to do it. But the mom's talisman is available at Box Lunch, so if you want that.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right. Again, thank you, Stephen, for the super chat. We appreciate it. And thank you guys all for watching. But now is the moment of truth. Here it is. And I feel like I know what everybody's going to say on this one, but you know what? Just because it's how we do, we're going to go around the horn anyway. And Eric Wolf, would you recommend this movie?
Yes, I recommend the movie. It's just such a cute movie. It's honestly something that's very, in a way, different than what Pixar has done. And I'm excited to see more, I'm excited to see different voices being heard at Pixar. and seeing what they have to say and the stories that they have to tell, because this was a good one, and I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I do. I've bought so much merch already.
Okay. I'm gonna go down to Desi. Would you recommend this movie?
So I've got a little bit of a caveat. So
Oh,
I loved this
Ooh.
movie personally. For me, I recommend it. However, my husband didn't like it, and I think it's because so for me, it was like I was Mei Mei. Like I had that exact haircut. I had the glasses. I had a very complicated relationship with my mother where she like tore down all of my Backstreet Boys posters off the wall in a fit of rage one day. Like
Oh.
I was Mei Mei. I completely related with her with everything. But for a guy, like a, you know, straight man who, he's a little bit older than me, who wasn't necessarily a teen tween in that time frame. He's just like, this is weird. What are we watching? So I get that like it might not be for everyone and it might not like age well because it is so tied to that one time frame. Whereas, something like Cinderella is timeless. This is very timed. So I would say, yes, I recommend it, particularly for anybody who was a girl and a teen in the late 90s, early 2000s. But I can definitely see why some people might not like it.
and for kids?
I think for kids, maybe if they're like younger than 9 or 10, then yes, because the period stuff might go over their heads. For that age range where it's like they would start asking questions, but maybe before it's time, it could get awkward. But for like that, 12, 13-year-old kid who that's what they're going through at that point in time, then yeah, for sure.
Gotcha. Okay, and Tyler Mann.
Oh no, I might go a little long. Um, yeah, I absolutely love it, and I was like the first 10 minutes, I was not expecting to laugh so much. It was so funny and it was so well done. The actual score itself is incredible. Like the music track specifically called Pandemonium, where she's running through the school and everything. That track is amazing. The music was good. The boy band songs are good. The writing and animation, everything is like so well done. Plenty of Toronto. If you're a furry, you'll love it. There's a lot of jokes about having a tail and she's wearing the ears in public and stuff. I agree with everything that Desi just said, that like you may not like it if you don't kind of recognize with May a bit. But like, I mean, I'm certainly not a girl, but I still enjoyed it because I was the kind of kid who fawned over boys and drew manga of boys and stuff. And so I saw that little bit of me in May. And there was a lot of Toronto, and I couldn't, laugh and reciprocate with a lot of what I was seeing on the screen. And my mom was also incredibly overbearing. So I was like, I really want me to get to, fight back against that. There's a lot of people who have said, this movie's not for me. And that's fine. Just maybe don't be so loud about it. It's kind of drowning out the people who do like it. And the people who are like, it's not for me, then have a bunch of little things that they say that are reasons why they think the movie's bad. And it's just hard to get over that, because those people have a little bit of a stronger voice on the internet, and I just really don't like that. So I'm glad our panel all liked this movie and is able to spend, an hour and 13 minutes talking about how much we did like it. I think, is it for kids? I'd say yeah. And like about the specific words, like the mom going up to Devin at the Daisy Mart and being like, are you giving my daughter drugs? Like, if a kid hears that word, they should go to their parents and be like, what does this word mean? Like, you should be able to see something in a movie or a TV show and be able to ask questions about it, specifically to your parents, and they should be able to give you an answer. And if not, if they don't understand it, then yeah, it's a little bit early, and they might need to, grow up a bit before they start understanding what those things are. But it's there in the movie to sort of give an example of what kids are like and the way parents can be. And I've seen a lot of parents that are like, I don't like this movie. It tells the kid to fight back against the parent. It's like, well, yeah, when the parent is acting that way, yeah, it's kind of warranted. So yeah, I love this movie. I think a lot of people should watch it. And, if it's not for you, it's not for you. Just,
Yeah.
take a chance. And if you don't like it, go find something else. Don't then make it a whole part of your personality to be like, hey, everyone, I didn't agree with this movie and it's not for me. And we'll all be like, okay, what do you like?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's almost exactly how I felt about The Last Jedi. I thought that movie was amazing, and it's my favorite Star Wars movie. But everyone on the internet is like, this movie is terrible, and if you like it, then you're an idiot, and there's something wrong with you. And you know what? I don't think that I am an idiot. I think that I happen to enjoy that movie. I happen to enjoy Turning Red. If it's not for you, fine. People can like different things. Not everybody has to like the same thing the same way.
Yeah, that's true. Did Tom ever apologize to you, by the way, for saying that to you about The Last Jedi?
No, because Tom's favorite movie is Last Jedi too.
This is Tom right now in his basement.
Yeah.
Let's be fair. A girl
love the
fawning
dad.
over a boy and calling him sexy, there is worse stuff in more popular animated movies. Like, I walked out of Minions being disgusted by how bad that movie is. And then this movie, why this movie? Why this movie? Is it like getting, it's so weird. I think if a movie is giving an equal amount of people who love it and a lot of people who are disagreeing and thinking that it's bad and they don't understand it, I think you're onto something. I think that means that it's something impactful. Like Monty Python, when that came out, both sides, and it's kind of stood the test of time. So, well, actually, not really. A lot of stuff hasn't, but yeah,
Yeah. And I would just put the icing on the cake and say that I would recommend it too, and that I'm a little bit atypical when it comes to probably, grown men watching animated cartoons. But I do think that Pixar always does a great job. I just am still shocked that there are so many of these movies that I think are good movies that have been released direct to the streaming service. That doesn't mean that the streaming service doesn't deserve great original content, and they have it. I think that the Marvel cinematic TV shows are great content. I think that that the Star Wars original shows are great content. But the movie stuff in general, are you putting these Pixar movies in the same bucket as Lady and the Tramp live action and as Artemis Fowl?
there's stuff
You see,
They weren't bad
annoys me.
movies. They weren't bad movies, but they didn't put a lot of money into them to make them great.
correct. And personally, for me, the thing that annoys me about that type of situation is the fact that they came out and said, we're making a Lady and the Tramp movie for Disney Plus. We're making these movies, we're going to promote them, it's coming to theater. Never mind, they're not coming to theater, you guys can see them on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And it's it's really annoying when it's that, because then you start getting the whole budget thing. You start getting the whole the amount of work that these people are doing, because let's be honest, when it comes to animation, some things, especially for streaming services, aren't made in that high quality on purpose. So for them to spend all this money and for them to do all this and then just be hush hush, you're gonna go away. And from what people are saying also, public found out same time that employees found out, kind of sucks.
Yeah. $175 million to make this movie. That does not sound like a movie that they went into knowing it was going to be on a streaming service.
I understand why this filmmaking team got disappointed that Disney decided to shove it onto Disney Plus, because this by the end of it, I was like, this movie should have been in theaters. But at the same time, I've seen stuff on Disney Plus that is kind of better than what's in theaters. Like, this movie was fantastic, and I thought Jungle Cruise was trash. So, like, it depends.
For that review,
Yeah.
check it out on Unplanned Downtime. But I will say, though, that I enjoy seeing a movie in the theater. I always would look forward to Marvel, Star Wars, DC, Pixar, all of these I've always looked forward to seeing in the theaters. Most of the time, even if it's like premiere or in the theater, I'm going to go to the theater to see it. So I feel like that these movies are, that they should be made for the theater, but we actually, as the customer win in this case, because we didn't have to pay to go to the theater. We were already going to be watching Disney Plus. We get to watch it right now and as many times we want to. So I'm not really complaining about that, but I do feel like Wolf was saying that these artists, there's a different level, and maybe that'll change moving forward as so many things are on that direct-to-consumer platform, that there's more, like Ryan Reynolds doing movies just for Netflix. I mean, the game is changing a little bit, but it still feels like it's not the same level of prestige to be in the theater and to be able to have that experience there. So anyway, Chief says Artemis Fowl was horrendous in my opinion. I'm sorry, my humble opinion. So anyway, I didn't think it was horrendous, but I was like, good thing they brought that direct to Disney Plus, because I'm not sure a lot of people would have paid to see it, but for free, why not?
I can understand why it went straight to Disney Plus, because it is kind of weird, and if you're not of the exact target, you might be turned off by it. I know that just looking at the previews of it and hearing a little bit about it, I'm like, what is this? This sounds weird. Is it about a girl getting her period for the first time? I don't know how comfortable I feel about this. So I get it, but I'm glad that it came to Disney Plus, only because I'm just personally more likely to watch it from home than in a theater right now.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm embarrassed at how long it took me to realize that the title was an allegory for getting your period. It took me way too long. Like, I think I started watching the movie, and then I was like, oh, turning red.
Wow. Well, let me just make an appeal that if you haven't watched all of our Deep in the Plus episodes, we have them on unplannedDowntime.com. We've done a lot of good stuff recently, including the St. Patrick's Day special we did with Patrick himself last week, and tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, so you still got time to get in on the Luck of the Irish, Free Guy, Princess and the Frog, Book of Boba Fett, Cruella, and the Tangled 100th episode that we did. So a lot of good content. We have a lot of fun doing this. We hope you guys have a lot of fun doing it too. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thank you everybody on the panel, because I know everybody has other things to do. So we really appreciate you coming in and spending some time, talking about this, and it's been a really good time. So thank you guys. Thanks for everyone who did Super Chat and watched us here. Make sure to watch the Disney Entertainment News Today that we put out there, and give us your feedback on that, as well as let us know in the comments below once the video is done what you thought of Turning Red. We want to hear from you and hear what you thought of Turning Red. And also maybe a thought or two about Pixar movies coming directly to Disney Plus. Hopefully this is the last one that gets this treatment, and then we can just see some original meant for Disney Plus Pixar content coming soon. That would be great. But in the meantime, Lightyear is coming to theaters. Can't wait. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Have a good night. And Tyler or Marshmallow, God bless.